The grassy towpath of the Barrow waterway is to me the most beautiful place on God's earth. The full trail runs from Lowtown to St. Mullins. It's about 70 miles long. It's a grassy path drawing you deep into the heart of river country. Not the sound of a car, not the sound of your own steps to be heard, and your feet telling you that you're walking on nature's own green surface. This is where I go when I'm anxious or depressed, and it gives me back peace. And its beauty comes not just from the river. It's the grassy path framing the river that makes this a paradise in almost any season. The grassy sod is a carpet. It dictates the quiet. It dictates the pace, a pace which accommodates all users, walkers and joggers and cyclists. No one can go so fast that they intimidate or endanger anybody else. People move at a pace which allows them to look at a heron on the weir, to watch the fish jumping, to stop and talk to one another. The environmentalist and filmmaker, the late Dick Warner, who loved this grassy surface, said this was the most beautiful riverside walk in these islands. Contrast the grassy sod with the surfaces Waterways Ireland propose for their Blueway. It will, in places, be an unbound surface of hardcore packed in with crushed limestone. This surface at Tinnahinch is what Waterways want to run on much of the proposed Blueway. Waterways say it will be a maximum 2.5 metres wide, so it'll take up almost all the towpath between the verges. It's ugly and it's dusty, a suburban track instead of a wild way. A grass surface will grow again after a flood, but who's going to keep this surface repaired after the river floods and leaves it potholed? Here's the condition of a similar surface down at St. Mullins, even after the locals tried to fix it. This is what happens when the river floods, and the river floods almost every year. And here's something even uglier. Look at this mass of hard white stuff. Is it concrete? Is it asphalt? Thrown down at Ballykeenan Loch. I've no doubt that repairs were needed to the surface. But is this the sort of sensitivity with which Waterways are going to treat the beautiful Barrow track? Waterways say they plan to use bound or sealed surfaces near roadways or towns. But in fact, the overall effect of their proposed hard surfaces will be to urbanise the whole of the green towpath like they've done on the Royal Canal. Here's the grassy towpath on the Royal Canal between Kilcock and Enfield before Waterways get to dig it up to put down a Blueway. It's a canal-side path with rushes, soft and green, like the rural countryside that it runs through. Here's the gravelly cycle path Waterways has put down instead, dusty and industrial looking. It's like a road, something in a town, artificial and totally different from the rural setting all around it. This is the real thing, the grassy Barrow towpath. It's so beautiful, so peaceful. Imagine the disruption when machines start tearing up this surface. Imagine what that'll do to the flora and the fauna, the shy animals along the river, the kingfishers and the swifts. Why destroy what is so beautiful? The natural setting, the peaceful river framed by the slow grassy way. This Barrow path has never been marketed properly. Since we started to alert people to the plans for the towpath, and since there's been publicity about it, footfall on the river has increased massively. People were delighted to find out about it. As the lone cyclist who took this video discovered, walkers vastly outnumber cyclists, and there can be bottlenecks on the narrow towpath. The gentler pace dictated by the grass avoids most tensions. But put in a surface which allows increased speed on the same constricted path, with cyclists coming from both directions, and you'll get tension and even conflict between walkers and cyclists. Why not develop this peaceful greenway as its history suggests, as a thoughtful and already established pilgrimage path to monastic St. Mullins, which has centuries-old links to the Camino de Santiago? This long-distance grassy way, shared by cyclists and walkers alike, has to be protected. We have to guard against copycat ideas that would make it ordinary, like any suburban canal track. We have to save the grassy magic of the Barrow line.